Good morning, students. It is Tuesday, October 20th, and we are going to keep going on our nonfiction notes. So take out that notes packet and either have it open in the window next to you while you're working, or if you have the paper copy, then you can be filling out these notes as we go. Yesterday, we did main ideas. We did the introduction to the nonfiction unit, and then we did our notes on main idea, one of the 3 building blocks of a nonfiction text. Today, we're going to go on to number 2, which is author's purpose. And just so you know, as I share my screen, here's a little hint that might have something to do with your exit ticket today. Interesting. I wonder how that works. Okay, so let us begin. Author's purpose. So the second element of nonfiction is author's purpose, and that is the reason why the author wrote the text. Now, I'm going to say this again, and I said this, I believe, in the video yesterday. If you see a word in bold, like this word reason here, that is the word that you're writing into your notes to complete the thought. So, author's purpose, and it is important to know that there's an apostrophe S, meaning they possess it, it is theirs. The purpose of the author is the reason why the author wrote the text. And there are 4 categories that they fit into. Remember, pause me at any time that you need to. So author's purpose, our 4 types are number 1 is to inform, to pass on information. So the author tells the reader about something. An informational text. Number 2 is to explain. Now, this is a little, students have difficulty with explain versus inform, and we'll talk about that. But if to inform is just telling you about a thing, explaining is it takes a process or an idea and describes it in detail, usually gives the reason why something is. So not just explaining that something exists, but why it exists, and goes more in depth or in detail about it, okay? The third one is to persuade, and we're going to talk about this idea of to persuade as we go forward in our nonfiction unit, because a lot of writing is trying to convince you of something. When you're writing something that to persuade, you are trying to convince your reader that what you believe is what they should believe. It can also be to a call to action. Number 4 is to entertain. Now, a lot of students kind of forget this one because they think nonfiction writing is boring. It's just explaining things. Well, nonfiction writing can also just be plain entertaining. A lot of stories are completely true and are completely entertaining. So the author is writing for the enjoyment of the reader. This could be for humor. This could be for just for emotion. It could be a sad story, but it is still to entertain. If there's no other reason that the writing is just to give you entertainment, then it is to entertain, to enjoy it. Let's do some practice with this. You've done this before. We did this in our fiction notes. And so as I go along, I want you to be checking yourself and see if you can match what the author's purpose is for the explanation. All right, so let's do the first one together, and I'd like you to pause, think about it, make your decision, and then continue the video to see the answer. First example, a 1-page printout showing how to put together a coffee table that came in a box. A 1-page printout showing how to put together a coffee table that came in a box. So looking back on your previous pages of page notes, which of those takes a process and describes it in detail or gives the why? Pause, think about it. And I hope you came up with to explain. So instead of just someone telling you about it, they're explaining how to do it, or they're explaining the reason for it. Next one. A speech in which a student promises daily pizza rations if he is elected class president. What is the purpose behind this speech? What is the author, the student, trying to do? Are they trying to just inform you? Are they trying to explain how something works? Are they trying to persuade you, to convince you of something? Or are they trying just to entertain you? Pause, see if you can answer that question. This is definitely to persuade. He promises something if you do something. If you elect him class president, he's going to find a way to get you daily pizza rations, which that sounds pretty darn nice to me. So he is trying to convince or persuade the reader or the listener of something. A picture book about a dog that gets lost on a family vacation and has to find his way home. All right. What is the purpose behind this book? Are they trying to inform, to explain, to persuade, or to entertain? Pause, see if you can figure out the answer, and it is to entertain. It is a true story, but it is something that is just simply for the enjoyment of the reader. So just because it's a story about a dog that got lost and had to find his way home doesn't mean that it's not true. And it's definitely entertaining. I would like to see that. It would be so nice to have the dog reconnect with his family. Last one, or not last one, excuse me, we have a few more. A timeline showing important events from the Civil War, American Civil War. Now, there are two ways you could figure this out. One, based on the definition of these authors' purposes, or two, you could maybe make an inference, a guess, that there's only one we haven't used yet, and it's just telling the reader about something. It's not explaining it in detail, it's just showing or informing you of important events. An internet ad banner telling you to click it for a free iPhone. What is the author? You don't often think of that as an ad being something where there's an author and there's a purpose, but there absolutely is. What are they trying to do? They are trying to persuade you to click on that link. Don't click on it. Don't click on it. You don't want it. It's not going to be free. Last one. An orange sign advising drivers that the road beyond is under construction. What is the purpose behind that? Just because it's not a written piece of text, it does not mean that it is not nonfiction writing. It's something that's true, and there's a reason for it. Why? Remember, pause the video, see if you can guess. And it is to inform drivers that coming up, there's construction. All right. So anything that you have, you can see there's a wide variety here. Directions on how to put together a coffee table, a speech, events from the Civil War, even ads online, or danger signs are all nonfiction, and they all have a specific purpose. And it's really important for you to pay attention to this exit ticket. It is really important to pay attention to the author's purpose, because it can inform you, but it also lets you read it properly. If the orange sign advising drivers that the road beyond is under construction was only to entertain, well, then it's not suiting the purpose. Then there might be accidents. It is there to inform. So it is the definition of author's purpose is the reason why the author wrote the text, and it's important to pay attention to it, because then you are a more informed reader, especially if their purpose is to persuade you, because you want to be aware that someone is trying to make you think a certain way, or someone is trying to convince you of something, and they might have a reason for doing that. Okay, let's look at that more in depth. To persuade: facts, claims, opinions, and bias. This is really important, and we're going to talk about this all year. There is a spectrum, which means a range, so from left to right here, and facts, claims, and opinion all fit on that. A fact is a statement that can be proven. For example, at the fall social, the cheese pizza was eaten faster than the pepperoni pizza. That is just a fact. The cheese pizza was gone before the pepperoni pizza. Fact, it can be proven. We can go back, we can ask people, we can have the proof of the different pizza boxes. Fact. A claim. Now this is what's really hard for students. A claim is an arguable statement involving an opinion. And usually you have information or data to back up your claim. Because at the fall social, the cheese pizza was eaten faster than the pepperoni pizza, I claim that cheese pizza is more popular than pepperoni. Now, you may disagree. You may think pepperoni pizza is more popular than cheese, that's a claim you have, that's fine. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that I argue that cheese pizza is more popular than pepperoni. That is a claim. It is a statement involving an opinion, but usually is backed up by facts, usually has reasons to back up your claim. Okay. And then finally, the last one to the right on the truth telling scale, if you will, an opinion is simply something that reflects a person's beliefs. This is where you say, I like cheese pizza. You're not saying anything about that cheese pizza. You just say that I like it. I like it better than pepperoni. That is just an opinion. That's just how you feel. And there's no real way to argue against that because that's what you like. Just like me saying, I like playing hockey. That's how I believe and that's how I feel. And there's nothing really to argue. But if I were to make a claim that hockey is the best sport in the world, well, then there's something we can argue because you might have very good reason why soccer or football is the best sport in the world. So fact, statement that can be proven. Claim, arguable, but it includes an opinion, but you have things to back it up. Opinion, just beliefs. There's no way to argue it. You can't tell me that hockey is not my favorite sport. Hockey is my favorite sport, or I really like it. And this last piece that we're going to talk about a lot moving forward and is really important for us as educated readers is bias. Now, bias is very involved with to persuade when somebody is trying to convince you of something. A bias is when someone's writing is in favor of or against one thing, person, or group compared with another. Both their facts and opinions reflect the side they support. That means that if I think hockey is the best sport in the world, and I'm going to write a paragraph explaining to you why I think that is, I claim that hockey is the best sport in the world, I'm going to include facts and opinions that back up my claim. I'm probably not going to include facts and opinions that back up the claim that soccer is the best sport in the world or football is the best sport in the world, because I have a bias. I'm a hockey player and I want you to believe and I want you to think that hockey is the best sport in the world, just like me. So again, it is really important when we think about author's purpose that if the author has a bias toward what they're writing, that you need to not immediately believe what they tell you because they have a vested interest or they have a reason to only include what supports their argument. Okay. That is all we are doing for author's purpose. We are going to practice this a lot more, especially facts, claims, and opinions. This is really important, and this is something we're going to come back to and spend a lot of time on next week as well. But remember, it's on a spectrum. Fact, totally proven. Claim, something that you could argue is correct, but it's still based in an opinion. And then an opinion, there's nothing to argue. It's just the way someone feels or believes. And back to exit ticket, the definition of author's purpose, and why is it important for us to know the author's purpose so that we can maybe notice if there is a bias and we can be a more informed reader or listener to the information that's being presented to us. And we can use our critical thinking skills to form an informed opinion. Okay. So in your exit ticket today, I want you to think about why is it important for you to know if someone has a bias when you're reading their writing? Why is that important when you read something that's supposed to be informational or nonfiction, but they're only including the facts that they believe? Okay. Tomorrow, we are going to move on to our last building block, which is text structure. And we get to there's some drawings and some images that'll help us understand that. And then Thursday, we have a fun activity to go over all of the things we're talking about this week. But yeah, so this page that I'm pointing to right now, really important, and we're going to come back to it. And that's it. I'm going to sign off. And if you needed anything to be repeated, remember, you can always pause me and you can go back. All right. You have a great rest of your day. Get your homework done. There's no other homework today besides the exit ticket. Next week, we'll have some more homework though. Okay. Bye.